Hello guys, and welcome to my trading journal for Friday the 26th of March. The last 10 or so trading sessions in the markets have been quite volatile, and today being the beginning of spring, I think the spring season has put a spring in the market's steps. As you can see from the heat map, it is full of green shoots, and at the close today, all the equity indices were up by more than 1 percentage point. I think most of them were up by about 1.5%. Tesla appears to be the outlier here. Nearly everything else is a lovely green. The VIX, on the other hand, the volatility index, was down, and that is not surprising given all the green shoots in the market. So the VIX closed today at 1886, and it now appears to be getting quite comfortable below the 20 level. And the main implication of the VIX being below 20 for option spread traders is simply that option premiums are not going to be as rich as they were when the VIX was above 20. And there might also be fewer opportunities because option premiums are low. But VIX being below 20 is, it's not a big deal. It's largely below 20 for most of the time. And last year was an outlier where the VIX was over 24 for a very extended period of time. Moving on to my trade ideas. I had no new trade idea today, but I did have a new trade idea yesterday in TAN, this one here. As I mentioned in my journal on Wednesday, I'm piloting trading the weekly contracts, and I opened this position in the weekly contract, this TAN position. And the main difference between weeklies and the regular expiry is simply that the weekly contracts expire every week and the regular contracts expire every month. So this is the option chain of ARKK. I have set it to show all expiries, not just the regular ones, and you can see you've got a weekly here expiring 26th of March. So basically every Friday there will be an expiry for the weekly. You got one for April there, and then you've got the regular one, then you have all these other weeklies. And when we get into May, they'll cut out the weekly options for May and June and so on and so forth. Historically, there was not much liquidity in the weekly options, but that now appears to be changing, and some weeklies are very liquid, and not every underlier has weekly options. If I was to look at say XL, for instance, XL hasn't got any weekly contracts at all. So not every underlier has a weekly contract, but I'm going to start piloting the weekly contracts, and I just opened that position in TAN, which is a weekly contract. Moving on to my open positions. I have got 3 open positions. 2 of them are in the regular expiry for April, and the TAN one is the weekly one, and I think, yeah, here I denoted it with a W next to the spread, so you know it's a weekly contract. The first open position is in GNOG. On GNOG, I sold the 17.5, 12.5 put spread for a credit of $1.50. Let's see where GNOG closed today. So this is the chart of GNOG. As I mentioned on Wednesday, GNOG sold off on Wednesday after the earnings numbers came out. So today GNOG down about 69 cents to close at $13.56. The my short 17.5 put spread is currently in the money, and if I dig into the price action on GNOG, so this, let me just zoom into it a little bit. So this candle here is when the earnings came out. Opened here, went all the way down, and it closed right at the bottom. So that was on Wednesday. Yesterday the buyers came in, opened here, and they closed it right around the high. Today, but if you look at this swing low here, so the prior swing low was down here. So even with the earnings and missing the earnings, it didn't come back down here. So we got to around here, and the buyers stepped in and they moved it higher. And then today, the price action today is quite encouraging, and here's why. If the sellers were keen to take this thing lower, they could have taken it lower today. So yesterday the buyers came in and pushed it higher. Today the sellers came back and retested yesterday's low. A retest is always healthy before the market goes back higher, just to make sure that there are no sellers hanging around wanting to smash it lower. So when the market retested yesterday's lows, if the sellers were there in force, it would have been easy for them to just push it all the way down here, but that didn't happen. The sellers came, tested the low, and into the close, the buyers were able to move it up to close it around here. So it didn't close at the low of the day. The buyers came in and pushed it up a bit higher. That is encouraging price action. Given that the sellers were not able to smash it lower after the buyers came in yesterday, that would give the buyers more confidence that perhaps the sellers are now exhausted. It'll be interesting to see if the buyers can consolidate between 1350 and 1430 for a couple of days and then move it higher, or if they just take it higher and see if they encounter any resistance above. But on this one, I like the price action, and for the time being, no action is required on this one. The P&L is negative $208 per contract, and that's obviously because my short strike is in the money at the moment, but I'm very optimistic about this position, so no action required on this one for now. My second position is in BLUE. On this one I sold a 30.25 put spread for a credit of $1.90. Let me see where BLUE closed today. So again, this is a 2-year chart of BLUE. It closed at $29.98. My short 30 put is about 2 cents in the money. In terms of the price action on BLUE, BLUE is at the bottom of a 2-year range. So this is a 2-year chart, and it's currently at the bottom of this. So this is BLUE now. It's currently at the bottom end of the 2-year range. And the path of least resistance is to the upside. The 30 level in this stock has been a magnet. Every time it goes to 30, something happens. So the market came down, the buyers came in. It came down here, they took it lower, buyers stepped in, and then today we have what appears to be a doji. But we're consolidating around the 30 level, which is good. The stock keeps gravitating towards 30. 30 is acting as support and maybe resistance, and eventually it will smash through it or just consolidate around 30. And as time goes by and it stays around 30, theta decay would erode the premium. So I'm happy with the price action in this one, and no action is required. In terms of the P&L on this one, P&L has got negative P&L of $40 per contract, small negative P&L, and that's simply because my short 30 put is about 2 cents in the money. The third position is in TAN. I only opened this position yesterday, so next week would be the end of week 1. It's a weekly position, a weekly option, sorry. I'll analyze the P&L next week. So that's the end of all my open positions. Moving on to my watch list. This week I've got NVAX, BLUE, Baidu, and ARKK. They all have high implied volatility, and I'll just go through them to see if any of them has weekly options, and I might be able to find a position for next week. So the first one on my list is NVAX. NVAX has got implied volatility of 53, and it does have weekly options. So this is one I might be looking at as a candidate for a trade idea next week. The next one is BLUE. I already have a position in BLUE. Oops. Blue. High implied volatility, no weekly options, and I already have a position anyway. Baidu, BIDU. The Chinese stocks have been in the news lately. US threatening to delist the Chinese stocks in 3 years' time. 3 years is a long time, but nonetheless the stocks are responding. Baidu has got weekly options. Earnings is May 17th. Around here, which means all these options expiring before May 17th are good candidates for selling spreads. I might be looking to do something in Baidu as well. And then finally, ARKK. ARKK is an ETF, no earnings, and it has weekly options. So that's another candidate I'll be looking at for a trade idea for next week. And that brings me to the end of my journal for today. Here's a quick summary of the takeaways from today's journal. So I'm currently piloting trade ideas in the weekly contracts. Be on the lookout for more trade ideas next week in the weekly contracts. And as I said on Wednesday, I'm only putting on small positions, 2 contracts for these weekly trades. I had one trade idea in the weekly contract yesterday, TAN. You can check the trade ideas alerts forum for that, but no trade ideas today. GNOG open position, no action required. BLUE open position, no action required. And that brings me to the end of my journal. So have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you. Goodbye.